And we're back talking about Canadians' concerns with the K-12 education system. We're chatting with Paige Macpherson from the Fraser Institute. Paige, you guys just put out some interesting numbers on public opinion related to the K-12 system. One of the numbers that you had, which I thought was interesting, involved Canadians believing that the school system needs to teach facts rather than interpretation of the facts. Could you tell us just a little bit about what the thinking was behind that question?
Yeah, absolutely. So our polling really broadly showed that parents prefer balance, not bias, when it comes to what their kids are learning in school. So this question asked, do you believe that teachers and curriculum in K-12 schools should focus on providing students with facts and a learning environment within which students can openly explore facts rather than teachers' interpretations of those facts? So in other words, should teachers be teaching facts rather than their opinions? And should the curriculum support that? And 86% of parents, as you said, and it's parents with kids in K-12 schools right across the country, believe that schools and curriculum and teachers should be focusing on teaching facts, not teachers' interpretation of the facts. So I think that sort of speaks to two issues. When it comes down to, who your kid's teacher is, it can be very important in the context of a curriculum that doesn't contain very many facts in it. So if the curriculum is not rich in content, directing teachers clearly, these are the math facts you should be teaching, these are the names and dates and history that you should be teaching, then it really leaves it up to teachers' discretion as to what your kid will be taught. Now, of course, that's going to be inevitable, and teachers are there to guide the lessons and answer kids' questions and, spark interesting conversations and all of that. But should the focus be on facts rather than their opinions? That's what parents really felt strongly about. So I think that speaks to the curriculum, as I mentioned, but also, teachers' conduct in the classroom.
Is it a big problem right now? Because, if you go on social media, you see some of the worst examples of bias in the classroom. But is it, in your opinion, is it a major problem that we're seeing in the K-12 system?
So I think that, when it comes to teachers expressing their opinions, as you said, sometimes this gets political, and parents raise concerns about that on social media and through their own schools. And so we have seen examples of that. And I think this is something that, parents very reasonably might be concerned about. And our polling showed that also parental involvement and information about what their kids are learning in schools is really important as well. But then when it comes to what's actually in the curriculum, absolutely, it's a problem. We just did a review very recently of the history curriculum guides in Ontario and British Columbia. And essentially, kids can graduate grade 12 in both BC and Ontario without learning very much Canadian history at all. And that is because there's just not very many facts. There's not very much content actually mandated in the history curricula, which leaves it very much open to teachers' interpretation, meaning that who your child's teacher is really matters in terms of what they're going to be taught and whether their experience is going to be very content rich or just a little more fluffy and a little more high level. And so I think it's another very reasonable thing for parents to be concerned about. But we also know from research that having this, a content-rich curriculum, getting kids to learn very specific facts, aids in reading comprehension. It provides the foundational building blocks kids need to actually understand, in this case, historical events, and then, put them into context. It matters for things like, should we be tearing down a statue of John A. Macdonald or renaming a school that's named after him? We need to understand the historical context in which he lived for young people to have informed decisions about those kinds of cultural conversations. So it does matter.
Well, okay, I want to shift a little bit. This is a related topic, but it's another poll number that you guys had released. I thought that was interesting. It involved advance notice of controversial topics, and so often this seems to kind of blend in with what we were just talking about. Could you just tell us about that finding that you had, this belief that Canadians want the school system to give parents a heads up on materials that would be controversial?
Yeah, absolutely. So our polling showed that, again, right across the country, and this is a national number, but we did polling specifically in every province, more than 4 in 5 parents with kids in K-12 schools, so 81%, believe that schools should provide advance notice of controversial topics being discussed in class or during formal school activities. So parents want to have a heads up about anything that might be controversial. They want to be able to, I think, decide for themselves, because of course it's going to be family dependent, what is a controversial topic, but schools need to be giving parents a heads up, at least according to this polling, in terms of what parents really want to see out of the system.
Okay, I want to pick that topic up with you right after the break, but we'll be back in just a moment.